What's going on, guys? I hope y'all are having a great day. This is a 3-day in a row upload. So the question of today is, what should you do or not do while you're at basic training? So today I've compiled a little list of things like do's and don'ts of what you should do at basic training, what you shouldn't do at basic training. This is just a few little things that maybe you haven't heard of before, maybe you haven't thought about. Just a little tip here and there of how to be a little bit more successful and not get smoked as much, or get along with people a little bit more. So just a little bit of do's and don'ts of what you should do or not do at basic training. The first thing I want to talk about is pretty much a given, but it's really just give your all, just do your best no matter what you're doing, and then never give up. So that's the first do and don't. It's kind of just self-explanatory. Just give your best, like go all out, whenever you're doing anything, and then don't quit. That's really the only way to fail at basic training. If you're worried about that, is just don't quit, right? Another thing that you really are going to have to ensure that this happens is that you always have your battle buddy. Now, at the very beginning of basic training and at reception and stuff, it'll be a little bit weird, and you're not going to be used to having a battle buddy follow you everywhere. But that's just the truth of how it is. You will literally, for all you guys who are about to leave, you will literally have somebody with you at all times. You will go to the bathroom with them, you will go to eat with them, like you will just go everywhere with another human being. If you're a male, you'll be with a male. If you're a female, you'll be with a female, but you will be with somebody at all times. And honestly, it's a little bit weird whenever you do get to go home for the first time, not having somebody else beside you. It's a nice weird experience, just being like, wow, I'm by myself. It's really weird. So make sure you guys have a battle buddy with you at all times, because at the very beginning of basic training, it's not in your head, like it hasn't clicked with you yet of like, I need to have a person with me at all times. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have a battle buddy, you're going to go to the bathroom or something with them, and then they're going to leave with another battle buddy, and they're going to forget about you, or you're going to forget about them, right? So you need to keep that in mind, because you're going to screw somebody over if you leave them without a battle buddy. You're going to be like stuck, stranded, and you're going to feel like you're like stuck on an island somewhere because you don't know where to go. Because if you see a drill sergeant or somebody who could yell at you, smoke you, whatever, get y'all in trouble, just don't screw over your battle buddies. Always have a battle buddy. Always ask, like if somebody needs to go somewhere, like, okay, I'll be your battle buddy, I'll go with you. Just ensure that happens all the time. The next thing is, don't ever be anywhere as a group with different uniforms or equipment, right? So anytime you go anywhere, right, if people are in some kind of disagreement on what equipment you should have, what you shouldn't have, you need to be in some kind of agreement. So what you need to do is ensure that you all have the same thing. So the don't of this one is don't have the same thing. And the way to get around this is literally, like, even if it's the wrong thing, you need to be in the same uniform and have the same equipment. So if you're supposed to have your Kevlar, you're supposed to have your flick, all this stuff, or you're supposed to have XYZ, just have something, because I guarantee you the drill sergeants will even tell you this, because y'all are gonna probably screw up at some point with this whole thing. You're not gonna have the same equipment because there's probably this one guy, but just ensure that you always have the same equipment, the same uniform. So I got a couple don'ts here, what you shouldn't do that you may or may not have heard before, and that is don't touch a drill sergeant's headgear. So sometimes they will literally lay down their headgear on the ground, they'll put it somewhere and say, hey, private so-and-so, go pick up my headgear. And don't be that guy who goes over there, just walks over, picks it up, because you are going to get smoked, because you are not worthy to touch their headgear. You are not worthy, and if you touch it, you're gonna be screwed, and you might screw over your whole platoon. And guarantee it, at some point, it may not be your drill sergeant, something's gonna happen. You're probably gonna see it where a drill sergeant is gonna ask a private to pick up their headgear, and they're either gonna do it, or if they're smart, they're not gonna do it, or they've heard this before. So all you guys, you should not fall for this. So however many people watch this video, you should not fall for this. Don't touch their headgear. If it's something of theirs, just don't touch it, right? Do not touch it. The next thing to do, or not to do actually, is don't call the drill sergeants by their name, right? I know you're not going to call them by their first name. You may not even just call them by their last name in general, but for me, I had a Drill Sergeant Murphy, right? You would never call him Drill Sergeant Murphy. So if another drill sergeant asks you which drill sergeant told you to do something, you can't and you shouldn't say their name. You should just say your drill sergeant or your head drill sergeant. Don't actually say their name, because you'll get in trouble, because they'll be like, oh, what are y'all buddies? What are y'all, friends and all this stuff? And then freaking you're going to be ended up doing push-ups before you know it. So don't call the drill sergeants by their name. I've been stuck in situations like this before. I remember I had a commander, our commander was asking me a question or whatever, and he was like, which drill sergeant told you to do this or whatever? And I was just like, my drill sergeant. And he was like, which drill sergeant? I'm like, my drill sergeant. And he's like, which drill sergeant? I'm like, well, my head drill sergeant. And he was like, okay, so you want to do this, because like people will do it. They'll say their name. Just don't say their name. Don't do it. Just say drill sergeant, head drill sergeant. Try to find some way to describe them besides their name. Here's a little tidbit of information on how you can get a little bit of extra calories and stuff with your meals. So whenever you go to the DFAC, guys, pretty much every meal of the day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whenever you're at the DFAC, at reception, or at the beginning of basic training when you're not getting MREs as much, you need to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's something that you can do really quickly. So just extra calories, food, protein that you can eat, carbs to give you energy that I honestly didn't even think about before. I was kind of nervous going through the DFAC line, because they're yelling at you and you're just like, oh my gosh, I want to get to this line, I want to get to this line, and you forget about certain things that could be on the line. Make sure you pick yourself up, pack some peanut butter. Eventually throughout the end of basic, people will figure out peanut butter is like gold. Like it is literally, it's just liquid gold, or thick liquid gold. It's peanut butter, but it is a highly valuable item. So if you catch on to that at the beginning of basic training, that's really good. So what you'll just do is you don't even have to spread the stuff, because you might not have that much time. Just open the packet, just squeeze the packet on the thing, get your jelly or whatever, make yourself a little peanut butter and jelly, and eat that in between bites of when you're eating your main meal. And that's a quick little way, it's a do of what to do, while you're at the DFAC to get a couple more calories. Let's say for example, it's just a day where they have crappy food at the DFAC and you're just like, oh, this is all disgusting. Well, at least, hopefully, you should have peanut butter and jelly and bread to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And speaking of the DFAC, don't ever get the ice cream. Don't ever get the ice cream. Don't ever get the cake. I was a little bit lucky. I got the cake a few times. I think the drill sergeants, literally, I didn't know a few of these things before I had left, right? But I tried to get cake the first day. I got in trouble for getting cake the first day, because I'm like, man, I want to get some calories in, because you're freaking you're just tired. You've been getting smoked all day, whatever. I got cake the first day. Got in trouble for that. I got cake the second day, so I was trying to push in the limits a little bit, but eventually, sometimes a drill sergeant would see me get it, but because he knew I was in shape, that it was okay. I'm thinking this was their thought process, because literally they would see me grab some cake, and usually I would hide it. So you grab the cake, it's up top of the lunch line rack, whatever. You grab it up top, and your tray's down here, and I would usually hide the cake under my tray. So I'd hold my tray with the cake under my hand, or above my hand under the tray, so you couldn't really see it. But still, I know for a fact drill sergeants would see me grab cake, and then they would see another guy who's kind of out of shape, kind of failing his PT test or whatever. They would see him grab it, and they would yell at him and get on to him. So I would say don't grab any cake, but I know for sure, at least for my company, whenever I was there, don't ever grab ice cream. Don't ever grab ice cream. Don't ever grab ice cream. Even if it's the last day, you'll even if they tell you, hey, go get some ice cream, it's okay, you're probably gonna fall into a trick or some kind of trap if you go and do that. So don't get ice cream, and don't take a chance on cake. If you feel like it, if you're like, okay, screw it, this cake is worth this smoking, if we get smoked, do it. But you also do run the risk of getting the entire platoon smoked if you do get ice cream or you do get cake. So keep that in mind. Luckily, I'm pretty good at this one, which is don't go to sleep. Don't fall asleep. I know you're going to be super tired all the time. You can kind of get away with this at reception because they're not allowed to smoke you or anything, but just don't fall asleep. I'm pretty good at it. Like I said, the most tired I've been was this past month, back in May and July, whenever I was at advanced camp. We only got about 3.5, 4 hours of sleep at night. But at basic training, you're going to get like 7 hours, but you're just going to be doing stuff all day, so you're going to be super tired. But don't fall asleep, because for us, my platoon, the worst smoking we got the entire time at basic training was when pretty much the whole platoon fell asleep. The drill sergeants had left for like 5 hours or something. It was ridiculous. They were just gone. I don't know what they were doing, but they were just gone. And we fell asleep. I remember I had my little laundry bag, and I was just like, screw it, I'm going to sleep. And the drill sergeant came up, and he walked up the back stairs, and he walked up, and I was like, oh, this is bad. I was like, oh crap. And he looked at me, and he was like, shh. And you know, basically we got smoked for the rest of the day because we fell asleep. Now, that was our worst smoking. I could talk a little bit more about that story later for another time, but in general, don't fall asleep. You're going to be going through all these presentations, and that's something that people get yelled at for the most, but it's not that bad. Just keep your eyes open. People ask me all the time, like, how do you stay awake? How do you, like, this is so boring. We're so tired. How do you stay awake? And my tip for staying awake is keep your eyes open. Like, just keep your eyes open. Like, I've literally sat there, you know, doing this with my eyes, you know, drinking water, doing something. Just keep your eyes open. You'll be fine. If you can do that, then you're gonna lower your chances of getting smoked, of getting your whole platoon smoked. So another don't here is don't smile when a drill sergeant is talking to you. If he is yelling at you, doing whatever, don't smile. I made a video the other day where I was talking about what drill sergeants are like, and the video clip I had of the drill sergeants yelling at the guy was because he smiled. And that's just don't ever smile. People say all the time, like, oh, I can't help it to smile. If you do smile the first time, you'll get over that really, really quick. So don't smile. Keep that in mind. Bite your tongue, bite your lip, do whatever. Just don't smile. So 2 things here that you should do and you shouldn't do to kind of help the whole process go for whoever your leaders are. So whoever's your assistant PG, whoever's your PG, PL, whatever you guys call them at your basic training, just don't ask for mail every single day. It gets old. They're going to be, you know, whoever's the leader is, they're going to ask the drill sergeant, or the drill sergeant's going to come to them and say, hey, we got mail, blah, 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 get everybody into a, you know, mail formation, and we'll hand out mail. And one of the most irritating things I had at basic training was people asking me for mail every day. And then, like, they will go around me, around my authority and stuff, because, like, you guys will learn stuff. You're not supposed to go around the PG and go straight to the drill sergeant. Only your leaders, like, you know, maybe the squad leaders, but the platoon leader, assistant platoon leader, they should be the ones communicating with the drill sergeant. Don't go around them to ask stupid questions to the drill sergeant, because drill sergeants don't want to know anything unless it's life, limb, or eyesight, right? So if they tell you to do something, they don't want you to come and talk to them unless it's your life, limb, or eyesight is at risk. So mail, you haven't gotten mail in 2 days. Okay, we get it. You missed your family, but just stop asking, because I don't even know how many times the drill sergeants would get mad at me because all my freaking people in my platoon would go around me and ask the drill sergeant. They would get mad at me for not asking the drill sergeant. So just don't do that. I know my brother, he was a PG as well at his basic training, and it was another common situation for him. So just make things easier on whoever's in your leadership. Just you'll get mail when you get mail. Don't ask for it. So I have 2 do's and don'ts here. They're kind of contradictory, actually, and it's kind of one of the most confusing things about basic training. And that is, your drill sergeants will sometimes want you to think on your own and then not think on your own at the same time. So what I suggest is think on your own. But at the same time, if you have a question, ask the drill sergeant. So that's 2 things that people generally don't do when they're at basic, because they're just in total fear and terrified of drill sergeants, which is totally expectable because they are like God at basic training. So it's kind of totally, you know, fine. But at the same time, just ask a question, right? So many times drill sergeants will be talking to you If they're telling you to go do something, go get something, do something. If you don't understand it, just say, drill sergeant, can you say that one more time? I don't understand it, blah, 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 blah. Just the worst thing you want to do is go off and do the wrong thing, get the wrong thing, or whatever. So ask questions. At the same time, though, when a drill sergeant tells you something, you understand it, and there's really no other questions to ask. This is when the drill sergeants want you to think on your own. So think on your own. This is the do. Think on your own. So the drill sergeant gives you a mission. So let's say you're at your FTX. Drill sergeant gives you a mission. Think on your own. Plan out that mission. Go through the TOPs, which you will learn. Go through that process. Plan everything out. And just don't ask every single little question, right? So think on your own. But at the same time, if the drill sergeants are telling you to go do something and you don't understand it, ask a question. And finally, a pretty simple, easy one, a little do for you guys is stretch the night before a PT test. A lot of people are sore or whatever, and the morning of the PT test when they're doing their run or just whatever event that you struggle out the most, you're probably going to be the most sore in that area. So just make sure you stretch the night before. I know for me, I always feel a lot better, a lot more loose whenever I'm running, when I'm doing push-ups, stuff like that, whenever I stretch the night before. If I don't stretch the night before, I feel a little bit worse whenever I'm running. My legs will feel much tighter or much more tight whenever I'm running than if I do stretch the night before. So that's it for this video. I hope it helped you guys out at least just a little bit. If it did, hit that like button. That would be awesome. If you have any other questions, maybe other tips or something, because this isn't just like a full complete list. I mean, these are a few major things that you should do and not do when you're at basic training. But if you have any other questions, leave your comments down below. Subscribe if you want to come back for some more videos, and I will see you guys later.